All right, so the invisible funnel scripts. The first one is, what is the script we put on this video right here? And the second is, what's the script we use here during this actual webinar? Okay, so the first script I call the magic bullet script. So somebody comes to the page and there's some things that are similar, right? First thing is I raise questions. Okay, like, hey, have you ever, like, in fact, we built an invisible funnel in the dating niche, and it was kind of a fun one. So like the whole thing was like, have you ever wondered why all the other guys get pretty looking girls and you don't? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to show you how, so I wrote some questions that were in their head. Then I introduced the magic bullet. Okay. I'm going to show you how you can get a girlfriend this weekend, even if you've never dared talk to a girl ever before in the past. Okay. Introduce the magic bullet. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Okay. My name is, and the person we did the dating one for was this guy who's overweight. He's not that attractive. And the big pitch is like, man, I am an ugly, overweight guy, and I still get good-looking girls. So I'm introducing myself, and he says, basically, points out your frustrations. I was just like you. I struggle with the same kind of stuff that you were struggling with until I found my magic bullet. And I found it this way where I can literally get any girl in a day, and it's awesome. So I'm gonna do a webinar that's gonna be awesome. And you're going to be able to come on this webinar. I'm going to show you. Today's Thursday. Come on this webinar. I'm going to show you how to get a girlfriend this weekend. It's going to be awesome. So don't worry. It's not going to cost you anything. And then I do risk reversal. So this is how it's going to work. You come on. You go to the webinar. Go home this weekend afterwards. Spend a whole bunch of time trying to pick up a chick. And if you don't pick up a girl, email me on Monday and I won't bill your credit card. But if you do pick up a girl, don't do anything and I won't charge you anything. Okay, that's how we did it in the dating market. We did this in the speed reading market. We had a partner named Howard Berg. He's the world's fastest reader. So for his, it was the same kind of process. Like if you ever tried to, or if you ever struggle reading books or trying to learn the information you need to, how would you like to be able to read a book a book in an hour? I'm going to prove it to you. My name is Howard Berg. I'm the world's fastest reader. And just like you, I was frustrated. I wanted to learn more. I couldn't do it. And that's when I became the world's fastest reader. And I can literally take anyone in 4 hours, double their reading. And don't worry, I'm not going to charge you for this. I'm going to prove it to you up front. Show up on this webinar. It's going to be 4 hours. We're going to test you at the very beginning of the webinar. We'll test you at the end. And if you've doubled your reading by the end, then you pay me. If not, let me know and I won't bill you a penny. Okay? So that's kind of how we do our magic bullet script. Like you got to figure out what's the big promise you can offer somebody. If you can do that, the invisible funnel works really, really good. Okay, that's why getting a girlfriend that weekend worked really good. Double your reading works really, really good. Okay, if you can give some kind of big promise, then the magic bullet script works awesome. Okay, now here's what the script we kind of do when we're on the actual webinar. Okay, so somebody comes on the webinar, and again, typically these webinars are 2 or 3 or 4 hours. Those of you guys who are on this webinar right now, you're actually in the middle of an invisible funnel training right now. We are like over 3 hours into this thing, so you can kind of see how it works. Initially, when someone gets on, you retell the hook, and you tell them what they're going to learn, and then you just start teaching. Okay, the best thing about invisible funnel is you're teaching as much stuff as you can. Okay, you're just trying to give as much value as possible. You're not going to sell any. You're not selling anything right now. So I give as much content as I can. I usually tell them what it is, like what's the first piece of content. I try to share some kind of parable or story that illustrates how it works, or how it worked in the real world. Then I teach a concept behind it, and then I show an example. And then I pick my second piece of content, or my second tip or whatever, and I go through that again and again and again. And I just keep doing that till all my content's been taught. Okay, that's kind of my script for teaching content. At the end of the invisible funnel, you recap. Here's everything you just learned. Now you're going to tie it to value. So can you see how this worked? Okay. How much would it be worth for you to be able to get a girlfriend? How much is doubling your reading worth to you? If I just doubled your reading, you read twice as many books, this is how much it's actually worth to you. So you're tying what you just taught them to some kind of value so they can see that it was worth a lot. And then you can basically come back to them and say, look, the webinar is now done, and I just need to ask you if it was worth it. Okay, if this was worth the $97 that I'm charging for the webinar, don't do anything and I'll bill you tomorrow. If it wasn't worth it, then just email me and I won't bill you. Okay, so recap what they just learned, tie it to some real tangible value, then ask them if it was worth it. If so, do this. If not, do this. Okay, and that's how the webinar, the training webinar ends. Then I soft close the webinar. I say, look, thank you guys for being on the webinar. Now, before we go, a lot of people are asking, all the stuff I talked about, if I can help them with it. And I just want to ask you really quick for your permission to kind of tell you about a special offer I have for you. You don't have to be on it. If you want to hang up now, you can. But I want to make you that offer. And most people are like, yeah, sure. And then they come back and say, okay, so, and then you got a couple different offers. Like, do you want to drive them to a website, to an application, to paid application? This kind of depends on how you want to transition your offer. Okay, sometimes we send them to a website for them to go order. Sometimes we have them apply. Sometimes make them pay to apply. And then basically my 3-step close for this is simple. What, why, how. Okay, they already know who you are, but it's the rest of the who, what, why, how script. So what do I have? I've got a really cool coaching program. If you want to go apply for it, fill out this application. It's free. Why do you need it? Because if you want to get to the next level fast, I'm going to show you how to do it. How to click on this link and go and fill out the application. Okay, so it's pretty simple and pretty easy. All right, so that's the invisible funnel.